Good evening. I'm Dr. Mahesh Desai from Mujibhai Patel Urological Hospital, and I welcome you all. And this is this year's the first webcasting of Pearls of Wisdom. And we couldn't start this without such a beautiful occasion, where this is our annual pediatric urological session, where the team led by Assem Shukla, who comes here and then takes care of the extrophy of the bladder. And they are here, and I said we thought that we can utilize them, and so that would be on our website. And in case you miss it, you can go back to our website and you can have a look. At this moment, Assem Shukla is Associate Professor of Urology at University of Pennsylvania. He's been a regular visitor for last 5-6 years to our hospital in January, and he comes with the different teams. And as I see, this year the team is grown, and more experts are here, and he does awful work. And during this period of 2 or 3 days, he and his team would be doing around 15 to 18 operations, and he'll be seeing more than 30-40 new patients who needs treatment. At this moment, I would invite Assem Shukla, because we have a few lecture, and he would introduce the faculty to you. Assem, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Desai, and our family here at MPUH. I think it is most appropriate that we are here today under the auspices of MPUH and Dr. Desai's wonderful stewardship of this institution. And it is most appropriate especially because it was he, 11 years ago, who truly invited me, among others, to join with Dr. Reddy, Dr. Curtis Sheldon, to begin the conversation about the creation and the fostering of pediatric urology as a specialty. That was already now, it seems, 11, 12 years ago, and where we have grown from there continues to amaze me. And it is to continue that relationship because he had the vision even then that pediatric urology should exist as a subspecialty in India, that he has been a tremendous sponsor and guide for us to continue our work here, bringing pediatric urology and developing it as a specialty in India. And for that opportunity, we are truly honored. Now, our work here has really focused, as you know, on urological reconstruction. We know that the talent in India is immense. The work that is being done, the knowledge set, is world-class. But we also think that based on our experience through pediatric urology having already evolved as a subspecialty in India, in the United States, that we have a lot that we can share through collaboration. And it is that mindset of collaboration that we have been bringing to our work here at MPUH, at the Civil Hospital in Ahmedabad, and the other ways that we have been interacting with many of you here in the audience and those who might be watching us on webcast. So today, before we begin some of our more academic discussions, we have a few topics just to kick off this conversation on pediatric urology. We wanted to begin with a talk on patient and family advocacy that is very important to a lot of the work that we are doing. As many of you know, our focus in a large part has been on the problem of the devastating condition of bladder exstrophy. And bladder exstrophy is one of these most profound urological abnormalities that is not something that is repaired immediately. It is a lifetime relationship that is required between the pediatric urologist and the patient. But as we begin that relationship with the patient and the family, what is also crucially important is that relationship with the caregivers and an understanding of how bladder exstrophy affects the entire family ecosystem. And to talk more about that, we have been very fortunate to partner with the Association of Bladder Exstrophy Communities, which is a family support group based in the United States, but that serves patients internationally. And we will be hearing more about that work by the executive director of this support and advocacy organization, Ms. Pamela Block. Ms. Block is a perfect advocate and a consummate advocate for this condition of bladder exstrophy, as she herself is a parent of a child with bladder exstrophy. So she knows more than anyone else the intimate conversations that are required, the ramifications on a family, and how our conversations as caregivers are perceived by the families and the communication that really has to occur. And she's uniquely positioned, not just as a parent, but also one whose entire educational basis and her degree and graduate degrees are in nonprofit or NGO advocacy. And so I think we will all benefit from hearing from her perspective and the work that ABEC has been doing in association with us, the operating surgeons, that have been this collaboration that has been coming from the United States, which we have been fortunate to have her join. So with that, I would like to introduce Ms. Pamela Block.
Shukla, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Imagine living in a world of fear, isolation, and shame because you were born with an initially devastating birth defect. This is the reality of children all over the world and here in India. From a father's plea in Pakistan, a man who spent 2 years going from hospital to hospital pleading to get the surgical care for his little girl who was born with bladder exstrophy, to the opportunity of receiving surgery in a country far away from a world-leading surgeon. Or for an orphan, Helen, born in a small remote village in Uganda, who was given up for adoption because she had bladder exstrophy. She was separated at birth from her mother and given to her grandmother to be raised under the poverty line. Imagine what her life would be like. Nobody wants these children to have to live in fear, isolation, and shame, and together we can change that. At the Association for the Bladder Exstrophy Community, we believe everyone affected by bladder exstrophy, no matter where they are born in the world, should have the opportunity to realize their greatest life purpose and potential. As Dr. Shukla mentioned, my name is Pamela Block, and I am the Executive Director for the Bladder Exstrophy Association. And I, too, had a humble beginning with my daughter Anna, who I adopted from a Chinese orphanage. She had undergone 2 failed surgeries, and she came home to me at Seattle Children's Hospital, a broken and sad little girl. But together with the surgical team there and a lot of hard work, she too has been able to go through this complex surgery, years of counseling and advocacy based on our organization, and she's now a beautiful, well-adjusted, smart, and getting to be a sassy little teenage girl. But she's living a normal life. No one would know to look at her that she has bladder exstrophy. And that's true for all of the children that we work with all over the world. ABEC is the only organization dedicated solely to supporting patients and families with bladder exstrophy. How do we do this? Well, we try to educate our families and our clinician partners in the field in the United States and abroad. We provide a website with accurate, engaging, and easy to understand information. And we are now starting to translate this educational materials into other languages so everyone in the world can have access to these educational materials. We also provide live and recorded webcasts such as the one you have joined here today. We invite our experts from our medical advisory board to talk about the latest topics in bladder exstrophy so families all over the world can engage with our doctors with the webinars and then live question and answers at the end of each session. These have been attended by hundreds of families in over 100 countries, and they continue to be a valuable way for us to provide up-to-date and clear information to our families. We also provide family educational conferences and picnics and work camps. As a matter of fact, we just spent a week in Ahmedabad, India here, working with over 110 families out in the ward. It's really giving them a good time. Every year, annually in the United States, a hospital generously sponsors our conference so we can bring families and physicians together and we educate each other on the latest information on bladder exstrophy and really let the doctors hear what we families out are dealing with every day so they can better support us. Our global support through social media, emails, and gatherings has grown year after year. I believe over the past 2 years I've spoken to over 500 families one-on-one. Our website is live with a lot of activity and people come to our websites almost every day. They're seeking information. They're seeking referrals to centers of excellence where they can get the best care. And we have a very lively Facebook group in which has grown this week in India with a new closed Facebook group, Bladder Exstrophy India, where we already have dozens of families that we've just spent the last week with conversing with one another and exchanging information and bonding in a way that families can gain better information and support for one another. I'm also very committed and honored to have the collaboration of the medical experts in this field to ensure that ABC is provided with the most up-to-date and the most clinically accurate information. This really is the backbone of the credibility of our organization, and I think it's really important that we have this partnership and collaboration. And I believe it's very unique in what we do and the relationship that the doctors provide ABC, our management, as well as the families. It's truly beautiful to see, and it has such an incredible impact on the work that we're doing. Just to share with you, we have a phenomenal medical advisory board again, from experts from all over the globe who have dedicated their lives to helping families with bladder exstrophy. And I'm proud to announce that Dr. Desai has offered to join our medical advisory board. So as you can see, our families are growing and our skill set is growing too. With partnerships like the hospital here in Ahmedabad and hospitals like in Doha, Qatar, we have the ability to provide the best care for children around the world by providing coordinated access to care. And we're doing that here this week with a couple of international patients that have come here to seek the surgical expertise of the medical team you'll be hearing more from. And we wouldn't be extraordinary if we didn't have our families and the children amongst this community raising funds and supporting our families abroad. Our anesthesiologist, Dr. Kundo's daughter, every year collects toys and gifts so we can bring the children here, so we can engage them in the wards. Dr. Pramod Reddy, who you'll be hearing from, his daughter has put together an NGO that provides surgical supplies so that the doctors and the support here, so we make sure that when we come, we have all the medical supplies needed to provide a great camp while we're here. And my daughters collect pajamas every year, and we give them out in the wards in Ahmedabad so the kids can feel safe and warm and dry. So again, it's really beautiful to see that our families are coming together and we're supporting one another from across the globe. So I would ask you to imagine, if you would, the impact that we can have around the world if we can continue doing the work that we're doing and building the infrastructure and the support that it'll take to keep this program going. You know, from the hills of Pakistan to school in Dubai, our little girl Kosh, who had to go from hospital to hospital for 2 years, is now a healthy little girl. She's going to school. She's a part of her community. This would have never happened if she didn't have the support of our organization. Or the hundreds of kids that we just spent time with in the wards, and the parents, if you can see the smiles on their faces. We're gaining the trust of our families, and they're now sharing with us what they need and what their fears are so we can address them so they can have better outcomes. And they'll open up to us, which helps all of us, the surgeons, our community, really give these children a better quality of life. Or my favorite story, where we've taken 3 continents to support a child, from an 8-year-old boy in Seattle with bladder exstrophy who raised enough money to bring Helen, the sad little orphan from a tiny village in Uganda, to right here in Nadiad 2 years ago to have her life-changing surgery. And I can't tell you, I don't know who is happier or who has the biggest smile on their face, Dr. Desai, Dr. Reddy, or Dr. Shukla. We'll let you decide. But as you can see, we all have a stake in this little girl's happiness. And I know that we all feel the joy that she now feels, that she went from a sad, shy little girl in a small village in Africa to having adoptive parents in Kampala and going to school for the first time in her life. That is the impact we as a team have truly had on this little girl and on many and most of the families that we touch on a daily basis. So with your help, all of us here can make the standards of treatment, support, and care within the reach of all children living with bladder exstrophy anywhere in the world. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you.